My name is Thaddeus Fairweather, and I will be creating a video that demonstrates a foreign key and how to implement a referential constraint. Now, before we begin, it's important to understand that a foreign key is a column that represents a key from another table, and a primary key is essentially a special relational database table column, or a combination of columns. It is designed to uniquely identify all table records, and its main features include that it must contain a unique value for each row of data, and it also cannot contain null values. Another important thing to understand is the definition of referential integrity. Referential integrity ensures that relationships between tables must remain consistent and guarantee the quality of the data in the database. This is also a field that is defined as a foreign key, and that must also have a corresponding physical key in the related table. And we cannot do this, or SSMS cannot detect these differences, so we must tell the database explicitly that these columns are related. The next step is we are going to create our tables. What we do is going to right click Tables, New Table, and I'm going to be creating a relationship between authors and books. Now for table 1, we are going to give it the column name of author ID. Now this is going to be an integer, and we're not going to allow nulls. And next column we could do the author name. We'll do a character limit of 50. We could allow nulls, but next we are going to give this a book ID because this is the primary key we'll be using in our next table. We are going to create an integer and not allow nulls. The next step is we are going to create this author ID as a primary key. You're going to right click set primary key. And the next step we're going to do is go under identity specification, drop it down, make sure that it is an identity. After doing so, we can Control S, we can create a table name. I'm going to just name it T author. After that, we can right click new. We're going to create a second table, and this is going to be for our books. We're going to create a first column for book ID, create integer, not allow nulls, and we're going to just give this the book name. So we'll do a character limit of 50, not allow nulls, and we're going to do the same thing we did for the author table. Book ID, right click, set primary key, drag this up, and we're going to go under identity specification, is identity yes. After that, we can save our table and name it tbook. The next step is we are going to create a foreign key relationship between these two tables, and by that I mean we have book ID in the tbook table, and if we go over to tauthor, book ID is going to be in the author table. Now in order to do that, you're going to select relationships, add a new relationship. Now under tables and columns specification, you're going to notice an ellipses here. I'm going to click that. Now this next step is you're going to select the primary key and the primary key in both of these tables. So tbook, book ID, tauthor, book ID. Okay. I'm going to close, and we're going to save once more. And yes, you're going to want to continue. Warning, the tables will be affected. Yes. Just going to save the tables one more time for double measure. The next step is we're going to refresh our database so the tables pop up. Then adding data. So we are going to begin adding data into our tables. We're going to right click the table, edit the top 200 rows. As you can see, I already entered some data into the table, but we can add a couple more. But as you can see, as we enter in the titles of books, it get a set book ID. For example, if we wanted to do a book named Duck, and press tab, it'll automatically get a book ID. If we do one more, let's just say Tootsie Roll, enter, and it'll automatically get a set book ID. For example, after this, we can go into our tauthor table, edit the top 200 rows. And I already created an example, but what we could do is add another author's name. For example, we could do a name of Pringle, book ID of 2, tab, it will automatically get an author ID. If we want to create an author, let's say their name is Extra, we could create a book ID of 3. And we can save this. It will automatically. Alrighty, so we added some example data into the database. What we can do then is refresh, and we can select the top 1,000 rows, and we can make sure that author ID Harold has a book ID of 1. We could go into tbook, select the top 1,000 rows, and that these book IDs each have their own set primary key.